This comment on my previous double wishbones versus McPherson strut video asked about how anti-roll bars work on GT3 Porsches. So today we'll talk about anti-roll bars, how they work, and what my experience with 991 GT3 anti-roll bars are and how I'd set them up. Hi, I'm Bear. I hold a German motorsport license, people pay me to set up their cars every now and then, and the guy who taught me to drive has more Nürburgring laps than most people have warm meals. You're watching the Chassis Code. This is Deconstructed, a format turning first-hand knowledge into actionable insights. If you are watching this video, you probably already had the first practical touch points with modifying or tuning suspension for track applications. In my experience, the last thing most people think of changing is the anti-roll bar, even though it'll probably be a good place to start when setting up a car's handling. So, what is an anti-roll bar, and why would you modify it? The anti-roll bar, also known as a sway bar or stabilizer, coming from the German word Stabilisator, is a long piece of metal connecting the left and right wheels of an axle. As a result, it improves roll stiffness, hence the car rolls less, hence its name the anti-roll bar. Unlike harder springs, if you ride over a bump on a straight piece of road, because the anti-roll bar moves simultaneously for the left and right wheels, it does not typically create a harsher ride like harder springs would. This way, engineers can still fine-tune the springs and dampers to accommodate a softer ride while resisting chassis roll. But why is defining chassis roll so important, and how does it affect handling? Well, first, we need to acknowledge the premise that softer springs grip better. Of course, this is very nuanced and conditional, and racing cars do still have quite stiff springs to balance the car aerodynamically and making the tires work. But once the car has reached a certain platform stiffness, softer springs, generally speaking, provide better grip. The reason for the added grip is this. Softer springs load the tires more gradually, allowing for a higher peak grip. An analogy would be, if I drop a 30-kilogram weight on you, you'll struggle to catch it. But if I hand it to you gently, the load transferred is dissipated over a longer period of time. So, a smoother driving style and a softer spring, generally speaking, gives you more grip. The less load per unit time is shifted from one side onto the other, the less you spike the tires. Hence, the car will have a higher grip ceiling at that corner. That's precisely the reason why a car with a lower center of gravity or a car with a wider track usually corners faster. Both of these attributes reduce load transfer and therefore doesn't spike your tires as much. Therefore, strangely, a car with some body lean resulting from softer springs can actually grip better. Knowing that slow, progressive weight transfer is what causes tires to grip better, how does an anti-roll bar help change the handling balance? To help us answer that, think of the front and rear axles as two interconnected systems. Let's assume for the following example that the car's front axle is very soft and the car's rear axle is very stiff, kinda like a Porsche 911, which runs very stiff rear springs to counter the rear engine and hunker down the rear end. In this scenario, if the rear is very stiff and the softer in relation front springs allow the weight to transfer slowly at the front relative to the rear, it'll cause a lot of oversteer. That means the car has more traction reserve at the front and the rear loses traction first, and you'll reduce that oversteer. And the 911, generally speaking, is quite oversteery. Now, if we want to induce more understeer into the 911, ideally, we'd reduce the rear spring rate or increase the front spring rate. Basically, do everything that'll result in a quicker transfer of load at the front and a slower transfer of load at the rear. Here, we can either increase front spring stiffness or reduce the rear spring stiffness, but we can also increase front anti-roll bar stiffness or reduce the anti-roll bar stiffness at the rear. Here, the roll bars are analogous to changing springs. It'll change the rate of load transfer at an axle, thus grip, thus altering handling. Now you understand the oversteer-understeer balance that can be altered using anti-roll bars. But then why would you use anti-roll bars instead of springs? What's the advantage that only the anti-roll bar has? Well, specifically on the 911, especially the racing versions, you can't simply decrease or increase spring rates at a whim. Think about it. These numbers are calculated with the aero load in mind, which changes the ride height, which can have an effect on camber and thus tire wear, which means opening up the ducts for cooling, which increases drag, which means decreasing wing angle to retain a speed that you want to have on the straights, which probably means adding a bit of toe at the rear for braking stability, etc., etc., etc. As you can see, the knock-on effects of changing spring rates can be massive. Therefore, changing spring rates on a race car with already determined parameters isn't always easy or advisable. The anti-roll bars give you a chance to fine-tune the car's handling balance while reducing the risk of creating confounding variables that may negatively impact the performance of your car later in the race. Also, changing springs means undoing the suspension assembly. Changing an anti-roll bar usually takes 2 bolts and is done within minutes, so it is cheaper and the less risky knob to turn when you want last-second balance changes on your car. And because it is cheap and effective, arguably, it should be your first modification. And how do I set up 991 generation GT3 Porsches? Well, the factory anti-roll bars on GT3 RSs are quite soft, and because the 991's front axle limit stiffness isn't as good as the 992 double wishbones, I run the front anti-roll bar in its stiffest setting, and the rear anti-roll bar is on the medium setting. I could easily run the rear on the stiffest setting, but for the Nordschleife, you generally want a little bit of understeer as well. That's it for this video, and hopefully you understand why anti-roll bars are important yet often overlooked. If you have questions or have something to add, let me know in the comments and I'll reply to each and every one of you. This has been The Chassis Code. God be with you, and until next time.